Hey guys, this is my video testing out the SNeS 9X emulator. I am recording this commentary after the fact, so I did play through this earlier using the emulator through this second world here of Donkey Kong Country 2, and I'm recording this after the fact. Now, if you watch the other videos, you'll know that there was some input lag when we were playing through the game before. And the input lag basically means that by the time that we react to something, the game has already moved on by some number of frames. And that might mean that when we're playing the game, by the time we actually do something, we might already be dead, or our characters might have run off of a cliff, or various things. It really impacts the gameplay. It really makes gameplay very, very difficult. And a lot of these modern emulators I've been using have been very, very good at replicating the visuals and the audio from the original games, but my philosophy on that is, what use is having good audio and good video if the gameplay is lacking because of the delay? My computer simply isn't fast enough to keep up with some of these emulators. Now, these older emulators, they're not as good at replicating the sound and the visuals, but they do tend to keep up with the gameplay input very, very well, and that is what I think is the most important thing. So one of the first things you'll notice is that the audio is not exactly on point. It's a little bit tinny. I've taken up some of the upper end of the audio, and that's just to give the computer more processing time to finish what it's doing, giving the computer more of a chance to run the input as it should be. If you hear me stopping sometimes, it's because I'm saying something in the gameplay, and or making a comment on something like how many bananas I got or something, and I just wanted to go ahead and keep that in there. Basically, just like I said, I want there to be a way for me to be able to play this with no input lag, and I want the frame rate to be able to run steadily. Gold radio! Now, when you're looking at this, you might notice that the frame rate on this is pretty solid. I have it recording at 60 FPS, which is something I couldn't do when I was using the SNeS or the Heigen emulator. I use the Heigen emulator when I'm running the NES games, and I was using the SNeS most of the time when I was running the Super Nintendo games, but I couldn't turn it up to 60 FPS or it would get too buggy, and the 30 FPS really meant that it would frame skip a lot, and it just wasn't advisable, because not only was I using an emulator that was frame skipping, the recorder was also frame skipping. And if you're looking at this, it's not going to be perfect. There's still going to be some times when there are some frames skipped. It's going to be a little bit choppy sometimes. But for the most part, this is running at a pretty decent 60 FPS rate. At least the game is, and the recorder is supposed to be, but sometimes with the processor, if too much is going on, it might skip some frames. So that's just something to know. It is running pretty smoothly, though. It's definitely running, if nothing else, just a little bit more smoothly than the other one was. I mean, I'm looking at this right now, and unfortunately, the video quality seems to be sort of variable here. It doesn't always seem to be outputting at 60 FPS. I was saying how smooth it was, and I'm looking back at the video. It might not be smooth all the time, but it does seem to be a little bit smoother to me. And the most important thing to me is that when I play this game, I can do a lot of the same speed strategies that I could do before, because I don't have to worry about pushing something 10 pixels too late and running off of a cliff instead, and it taking 10 takes to get through something that I could usually do the first time. I'm a person who's played this game a lot, and if I'm playing any number of games with someone who hasn't been as familiar with it, if they're experiencing it for the first time, this is a tough game. And a lot of the other Super Nintendo games are tough games, so when you combine the fact that it's a new game to whoever I'm playing with the fact that it's laggy, it's just not going to be advisable. So I am going to try to go ahead and use this from now on when I do record. I'm sorry that some of the other quality things have to be sacrificed, but really I think the fact that it's going to give us a pretty solid 60 FPS base, and the fact that it's not going to have any input lag is going to outweigh those things. because really, I'm an advocate of the philosophy that gameplay is the most important thing over graphics. I think if you've got really good graphics and really bad gameplay, then the graphics don't matter. And I think you've got really mediocre graphics as far as resolution, presentation, that kind of thing, but the gameplay is very solid and very fun, then that's going to be the most important thing. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this gameplay. I guess I'll just leave this playing. I did finish this first world, or this second world rather. I did skip Red Hot Ride because no one likes that level, but I did play everything else. And these levels are some of the levels that I have the most speed strategy on. So I wanted to go ahead and play through this. I do want to hear what people have to say about what this looks like. So if you're watching this and you have an account and you want to help me out a little bit, just tell me what you think of the quality of this gameplay footage and the sound, if it's bothersome, or if you like the gameplay more now that I'm actually playing it well. So just let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. Wow. That's pretty bad. Oops, skipped the level. Okay. Yeah. Speed strats. One banana.